Hello, ladies and gentlemen. For you guys that don't know who I am, my name is Shook. I make NBA DFS content. As always, all these videos that get posted over to a subreddit, I'll have that link down below where you can. I make updates with all the news. You can reach out to me. You can ask questions, 2v2s, just shoot the shit. I'll be over there up to lock. If you ever need to get a hold of me privately, you can get a hold of me on X right here. Let me throw my phone across the room so you guys don't hear it. And if you're looking for more in-depth content, I will have my Discord link down below as always. Alrighty, so let's go over my lineups from yesterday. Where are we? Here we are. Did not cash yesterday. This was yesterday, right? I believe it was. I'm pretty sure it was. Yeah, in the video, you guys knew I was really high on Davion Mitchell. Unfortunately, it did not work out because I played Ron Holland again at low ownership. He's just so bad. He's the worst basketball player in the world. I don't know what happened to our glorious king. Good point per minute, Ron Holland. I don't know what's going on with him. But yeah, 6% just way too low. Davion was a nuke. I talked about in the video. He was in an amazing matchup. I took his props. That worked out great. Knicks, they're one of the worst teams up against spot-up shooters. And then we got, Paul Reed, Chalk, Jenkins. You couldn't really fade those two guys. Tariq Queen was someone I really didn't like, but I had Isaiah Stewart, so I just swapped Queen. And then Alvarado was another low-owned play that I really liked to get off Chalk, Jeremiah Fears. And my thinking with playing Alvarado over Fears was I thought Luka Doncic was just going to hunt Jeremiah Fears on offense. Is absolute Swiss cheese for Luka Doncic, and he would get played off the court, and they'd have to go to more Jose, right? I think that makes a ton of sense, and unfortunately, it just didn't work out my way. Fears played really well, and he had like 8 steals. So that didn't work out great. This lineup, same type of thing. I played unowned Mason Plumlee over Chalk Musa Diabate. It just didn't work out. You can see Tariq Queen because I had Stewart and I swapped to Paul Reed. Franz, I played those Magic guys, Jalen Suggs, and yeah, Jenkins, Reed, Giannis. The Magic guys were just very underwhelming, so it's just not going to get it done, right? When you're that underwhelming for a slate. Let me just answer this question because it's about to lock, and then we'll get right into the slate here. All right, we have a five game slate for tomorrow, Sunday, on football day. They cut off the slates again. I don't know what we're doing. There's some early games, and I believe there might be some later games. I know there's earlier games. I hate it. I hate it. It's frustrating, but let's get into it. All right, Paolo Banchero going to be out once again here for the Orlando Magic, and we got the expected starters of Franz Winokur Jr., Jalen Suggs, Desmond Bane, Tristan Da Silva. And then we saw Jonathan Isaac off of the bench, not play as much as people thought he was going to play. They just played Tristan Da Silva a ton of minutes. So I can't get anyone off the bench personally. With that being said, it is not a good matchup for basically everyone here. But with no Paolo Banchero, there is a ton of usage to go around. So I'm still pretty okay with these guys. Like Franz is a good play at 8.7K, but just when you remove Paolo from the lineup, he is going to do everything for this team. Ball handling goes up a little bit as well. As you can see, 5 assists, 6 rebounds, 25 points. Didn't have the best fantasy game, but still going to do everything for this team. So definitely a pretty good play with Paolo out. Same with Desmond Bane. He had a really bad game. He shot only 7 of 18 from the field, played 40 minutes, was lackluster in the peripheral department. I thought ball handling could go up a little bit with no Paolo. That didn't seem to be the case. But still a good play. Jalen Suggs at 6K is a little bit rich, but with no Paolo, we saw his ball handling really, really go up. The peripherals really go up with him. So I have no issue playing Suggs. I think when they're this close in price point, I'd rather play Bane though. But all three pretty good plays. I don't think too many people are going to click on these Orlando guys in a tough spot going up against Houston. So good plays in their own right. Wendell Carter Jr., same thing I'm always going to say. He's been up, he's been down, but the minutes are there from him, and nobody continues to play him, and he has this type of upside. Definitely not the matchup to do it in, but still in play, I'd have him in my player pool for sure. And I like Tristan Da Silva for value at 4.7K, especially if we're going to get low to mid 30s minutes from him. which seems like that's going to be the case. They don't want to play Isaac a ton of minutes. They ran a really tight rotation. Like, they're not playing Howard. So, yeah, I think Tristan's pretty good. Anthony Black at 4.6K. No, I'm not going to do it. And I think Goga Batadze I think is at least a little bit interesting on a slate with not a ton of value as the slate stands right now. Um, we could have more value like Golden State, and some later Q tags here. But if we get no value, I think Goga's at least a little bit interesting, right? The Rockets, what they like to do is they're paint merchants. They drive. They can force a lot of fouls driving to the rim, right? You have Amon, you have KD, you have Sengun. They don't shoot threes, so um, they're really driving a ton, and that forces a ton of fouls. Like, I wouldn't be shocked if Wendell Carter Jr. picked up 2 quick fouls here, and Goga got extended in this spot. So I kind of like Goga quite a bit as a tournament play on this slate now that I'm thinking about it a little bit more. And then, yeah, Isaac's tough to get to if he's only going to play 14 minutes. All right, let's move on to the Houston side of things. Tari Eason got injured. He is going to be out for this game. So you're going to see a bump for Steven Adams, Reed Shepard, Josh Okogie, and the main guys. So, you guys know, pick and roll ball handlers, lead ball handlers up against the Magic. That is Amen Thompson. I love Amen Thompson at $8,000. Really good spot for him. Love him. Definitely my favorite Houston guy. Tougher spot for everyone else, but Sengun, of course, is always playable. Same with Kevin Durant. But I am just in love with Amen Thompson. I think Jabari Smith with no Tari Eason's going to have to play a ton of minutes. It's just not the best matchup. 3-point shooting, Orlando really, really good at stopping 3-point shooting. Josh Okogie's going to have to play a lot more. He's fine at like 3.8. And then definitely interested in Steven Adams. I also think he is a solid value. All right, let's move on to the Warriors here. So this is going to be a mess. Steve Kerr said they're going to continue to start Richard. They're going to continue to start this starting lineup. It just depends on if you trust Steve Kerr or not. This is a great matchup. It just really depends on that. Oh, it's like really, and the price points are not even great. But yeah, I mean, how did the Pels stop Steph Curry here? I think Steph is fantastic play at 9.1K. Played 36 minutes, one of the greatest second half performances I've seen in recent memory. Game before that, 46 real life points. Yeah, the Pels are just not going to have an answer for Steph here. I think he's great. Jimmy Butler at 8.3K, guy that can do it all. He'll run the offense a little bit too. We'll play big minutes. I have no issue going there. I'd rather just pay up for Steph, though, for what is that, $800 more. Draymond Green at 6.7K. Fine price point. Wished he was a little bit cheaper. I feel like we're used to seeing him in the like 6.1 to 6.4K range. 6.7 is definitely pricey, but you can find a better spot for him. So some interest there. And then, yeah, it sucks that all these guys are priced up. Like, Moses Moody is 5.8K. Well, Will Richard is 4.8K. Only played 16 minutes. Like, Al Horford played a decent amount. Played 24 minutes, but it's Al Horford. If you think, like, Steve Kerr trolls, you could get into, like, Pods. What else? Buddy Hield could be leverage. If, like, Will Richard's chalky, I wouldn't mind that. Because, once again, it's Steve Kerr. We cannot trust Steve Kerr. All right, moving on to the Pelicans. This is a pretty tough spot for the Pelicans. We have Zion Williamson as questionable. If he is out again, this is what the rotation will look like. I would imagine a similar rotation here, with Fears, Bay, Herb, Trey, Looney being the starters. And then you'll mainly see a lot of Queen off the bench, Alvarado, and that's mainly it. Where is Missy? There he is. And then Missy, they'll play Carlo and Missy. But it seems like they want to play Queen the most as it stands right now. All right. Excuse me, guys. So once again, this is a pretty bad spot for basically everyone here. Looking at the price points, like this grouping of Queen, Sadiq Bey, Fears, Herb Jones, I think they're just fine. I think my stance is going to be the same. If they're chalk like they were last slate, I'm just going to come in under on all of them, especially against the Warriors. So that's my stance with all of them. If they're low owned, Queen's my favorite, followed by Bay. And then Fears, and then Herb, probably. But you can mix and match them. I'm not as particularly excited about any of them at any ownership if Zion Williams is out. More interested if they're not owned. Trey Murphy, if this game's going back and forth, it's going to be Trey Murphy having a big game, so I definitely keep him in my player pool. Not someone I'm going to like go out of my way to play, but definitely someone in play for me. And then yeah, I don't mind like the Alvarado pivot if Fears is going to be chalky tomorrow, which I expect he probably will. I think this is another spot where we could see Alvarado get extended over the rookie. All right, let's move on to Portland. This is a great spot going up against Dallas. Dallas has been horrific defensively, and we know what they're going to do, right? They're just going to run a really tight rotation with the starters. We saw Robert Williams in the rotation last game. And then who are they're playing Dallas, right? Shaden Sharp's minutes are really starting to tick up. That's what we love to see, and they're going to play the main guys a ton. So Artie, yeah. So Denny has been phenomenal. I'm still pissed about this game. Only scoring 32 real life points, only scoring 40 fantasy points is unheard of for him. But he is the train that runs this offense. Him and Drew Holiday. I still think the Drew price point is just a little bit too cheap. I love him. Tomorrow I think Denny's a strong play. Shaden Sharp's too cheap. If those minutes are going to continue to tick up, we know the massive ceiling that he has. So I think the top three guys are really good plays. I definitely want to try to get into this game a little bit. Kamara's fine as like a last piece in type deal. Jeremy Grant, he's not going to keep shooting this good, so he's playable. Klingon at 4.9K, I don't mind for value. I actually like him. I think his minutes probably pretty secure in this spot. Dallas, they have three bigs. They're running what? Gaff, Lively, Peter Washington's back. AD's potentially back. He's doubtful. Yeah, he's doubtful, so not back. But I don't mind Klingon. I think that's it. Let's move on to Dallas, though. So with AD doubtful, Peter Washington coming back. If Peter Washington comes back, Najee Marshall's going to exit the starting lineup with the guards. So we saw Brandon Williams had the big games back to back. Now D'Lo had the big game. So I feel like they're just going to do a hot hand situation with the guards here. If we get P.J. Washington out, I really like Najee Marshall at 5.2K, good point per minute guy that can stuff the stat sheet, fill up stats in a big way, played massive minutes. The guards, like I said, they're going to go with a hot hand. I don't want to play either of the guards if they're picking up any ownership at all. Max Christie's going to play a lot. He's fine. And then Gafford at $5,000, I think is a pretty good value. And then, yeah, if you want to get into like Klay Thompson at 4.2K, I think there's definitely worse values. And then if PJ's back, then it's just like downgrade everyone. Like Najee downgrade, Gafford downgrade, Klay, yeah. All right, let's move on to Chicago. We have Josh Giddey questionable. We could have Kobe, or probable, I believe. It's so hard remembering all the tags. Yeah, he's probable. Kobe White could be back, and then Trey Jones is also questionable as well. So with Giddey in, I think he's a phenomenal play going up against Utah. Like, this is a great spot. I will say Utah in the past, sometimes they will try to trap lead guards. So that's the only concern there. But love him. He's going to be able to fill it up in a big way. Triple-double upside. This is the spot to do that, so I love him. Vooch at 8.1K should be able to have his way with no Walker Kessler on the other side of this game. So he's in a great spot. Nurk should be food for him, so I love some Vooch. What else? If Kobe's in, it just hurts absolutely everyone. I wouldn't really be on anyone else here. And then he'll be on a limit, I would assume, as well. And then if Kobe's out, then sure, like Trey Jones, Montas can nuke this spot. 5.7K, he'd probably be my favorite play, point per dollar. And then if Trey Jones is out alongside Kobe, then we're getting into like Io, Kevin Huerter, both would be good plays. Would really like Montas. Patrick Williams at 3.5K would be a playable value as well. All right, let's move on to Utah. So I'm not into Filipowski with the bigs back. Just minutes are just worse. Don't want to play him. I love Ace Bailey at 5.2K. They need to price him up. He should be honestly 5.8 to 6K in my opinion. Loving him. Collier's playable. Nurk, great spot for him. We know really good point per minute guy. It's probably going to get you a double-double. Probably more, to be honest. Minutes have been there as well. So really into Nurk. And then I love Lauri Markkanen at 8.5K, and I think he is really strong. So I think this game you definitely want to get into a lot tomorrow. Moving on to Atlanta, Trae Young is going to continue to be out here. It's just the Jalen Johnson show. Porzingis, once again, the minutes haven't been amazing, so it's hard to trust him, but the ceiling is there. Okongwu is priced right now with Porzingis back. It's mainly just Jalen Johnson for me personally on Atlanta. And then for Phoenix, we got a mess here. Grayson Allen is out, and then we have Mark Williams is off. Is off the injury report. Okay, so it looks like he's in. So the bigs are out of play for me. What else do we have here? Booker's a good spend up at 9.5K. Looking at the spend ups on the slate, we don't have a ton of them. We don't. I think Steph. I love Steph. I like Denny. I like Giddy. I think he'd be up there as probably one of the best spend ups. And then with Grayson out and Mark Williams in, you're gonna get more run for like Dylan Brooks. I think it's pretty strong. Royce gonna play a lot more. I like Gillespie at 5.1K, pretty good value. Goodwin's playable at 4.1, and like I said, I'm off the bigs. All right, guys, that's going to do it for the slate. I hope you guys had a great day. Enjoy some football tomorrow, and I will talk to y'all later.